So we will now welcome our first period professor, Paula Sumer. Paula will be speaking from the Visionary Communication Path, a Level 3 elective, Connect with Storytelling. For the timer, it is a 5 to 7 minute speech. Paula is a distinguished Toastmaster, and her speech focuses on storytelling. Please welcome Paula Sumer with her speech titled The True Story. The True Story, Paula Sumer.
Thank you. Before I get started, can you please mark the timer? If you could raise your hand so I could see the timing, I would appreciate that. Who is the timer?
Rosemary is our timer. If you just
Rosemary. Okay.
raise your hand, it'll put you in the first spot.
Your virtual hand, Rosemary. Thank you. Then this way I can keep an eye on that.
It's not working for me somehow.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just watch you.
Can I pin myself? Can I pin?
I can pin you. Nope, I can't. Won't let me. Okay, never mind. I appreciate it. I will start. You don't know me, but my name is Alexandra T. Wolf. And I know that you've all heard the story of the three little pigs, but what you've heard is wrong. I'm going to tell you the true story. It all started when it was back to school, and I was asked to bake a cake for my nephews so they could bring to their first day of school. I wasn't feeling really well. I mean, I had this terrible cold and I kept sneezing, but I knew that I wanted to be right and do right for my nephews. And so I started to bake that cake when I realized I ran out of sugar. What was a wolf to do? Well, I need to let you know that my diet as a wolf pretty much consists of little animals, bunnies, rabbits, pigs. And if it was up to me, man, I'd prefer cheeseburger any day. Maybe pineapple pizza, even oysters on the half shell. But that's not how I was brought up. I was meant to eat cute little animals. It's not my fault. Well, anyway, back to the story. I was baking this cake and I ran out of sugar. And so I grabbed my little cup and I went to the next door house. I don't know what they were thinking when they built this house. It was made out of straw. Well, I knocked on the door and the door kind of fell in. And I said, little pig, are you in? And the little pig came and saw me and he went, oh no, go away. I don't want you here by my house. Well, I was just about to tell him that all I wanted was to borrow a cup of sugar when, achoo! Oh my gosh, what a sneeze. I couldn't help myself. And that straw house just fell in. And there he was, this little pig, dead as a doornail. Well, he looked good enough to eat. And I hadn't had dinner yet. And he was already dead. So, I just helped myself. Well, I still hadn't gotten my sugar. So I went to the house next door. And I guess it was his brother. This house, maybe he was a little bit smarter. His house was made of sticks. And I knocked on the door. Little pig, are you in? And I could see a little piglet eye looking out the window. And he said, go away. I'm not going to let you in, not by the hairs of my chinny chin chin. And I said, but little pig, achoo! All I wanted was some sugar. Well, I didn't realize it, but that was an even bigger sneeze. And the next thing I knew, there were sticks all over the place and the house was gone. And underneath that pile of sticks was that little pig's brother. Oh no, I was having nightmares. But there was still a little bit of room in my stomach. And the thought of having pineapple pizza with ham on it, it just made me even hungrier. And so, you know what happened next? Poor little guy, he was already dead, so it really didn't matter. All right, I still needed my sugar, so I went to the next house, and darn it, this must have been the smartest of all three brothers, because this house was made of brick. Wow, he was pretty smart. So I knocked on the door. Little pig, are you in? And he just didn't listen at all. Little pig, please let me in. I just need to borrow just a little bit of sugar. Well, he didn't answer me, but I noticed there was a chimney on the roof. So I climbed up the side of the house and I went into the chimney and I slid down the chimney. And when I got to the bottom, oh my goodness, I got hit on the head with a frying pan and I was laying flat out on the floor. And before you knew it, I heard sirens and the police were there. And I was just, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted a cup of sugar. Well, the little pig said, you killed both my brothers and you're not going to get away with this. And the next thing I knew it, I was in jail. Well, needless to say, I never got to finish the cake for back to school for my kids, my nephews, and they put me away in jail. And before you knew it, the newspaper headlines, big bad wolf huffs and puffs and blows their houses down and eats the two little pigs. Third little pig saved himself from the big bad wolf. You know, it took me forever to clear my name because I really wasn't there to hurt anybody. All I wanted was to borrow a cup of sugar. And so, just so you know, the real truth of Alexandra T. Wolf was just simply because it was back to school. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you. And that's the truth. We are now going to have our facilitator, also known as the Principal of Praise and Pointers. It's going to be Rajiv, and he is going to call on up to 6 different members or guests to give their 30-second comments of what Paula did well or any suggestions for improvement. Please help me welcome Rajiv.
Thank you, Toastmaster. 6 people I'm going to invite for their comments are going to be Melanie, Stephanie, Koki, Jen Killingsworth. Jen, that will be something new for you, but I hope you don't mind. And considering we have Aaron Beverly with us, I would love to listen to his comment as well. And Laura. So let's start with Melanie.
Thank you, Rajiv, and thank you, Paula. Loved the storytelling with Alexandra T. Wolf, the 3 pigs, and the whole story and setting. I also love the fact that you merged the story with the Chinny Chin Chin, which belongs to another fairy tale. Something you could maybe add to make it even funnier is if you had little pig voices, just like right at the end as the newspaper headline, because I thought, a little pig, and then a little pig, and a little pig, or something like that might have made it even funnier. But I love the gestures and how you included different things and you had it conversational. Over to Stephanie.
Everything that Melanie said, I would have liked to see you institute some of that claw-looking, bacon-eating action as you devoured those tasty pigs. That's my offering.
Thank you. Koki.
Yes, I'm written evaluator, but I give a 30-second version of the evaluations. Yes, the 3 pig story, that's my favorite bedtime story that my mother used to tell me in the bedtime, but it was funny that she combined with the looking for sugar story. And, you know, she had a really great facial expression regarding to sneezing and blowing the houses. And I was wondering how this story was going to end. And it may be a lack of my English ability, but the punchline of the back to school, it didn't really click, but I'm sure it would click many others. But so back to you.
Yeah. Jen. Jen Killingsworth, yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the gestures, the fact that she really leaned into the shoes and all of that when she was telling the story. I agree with the last person who mentioned the back to school. I know that's the theme of this meeting, but in the telling of the story, I didn't see how it fit in. But otherwise, all the gestures and her voices, I thought that added a lot to the funniness of the story.
Fantastic. And before we come to Aaron, I'd like to invite Laura.
Thank you. That was a great story. I really enjoyed your gestures and your vocal variety. I have one suggestion. Maybe stand up so you can move around and use your stage more. But overall, I really liked your story and the way you told it, and so thank you.
Thank you. And over to you, Aaron.
Yes, Paula. I recall being in grade school, hearing the story of the true story of the Three Little Pigs. And it was like you were taking me back in time, and I enjoyed every moment of the story. The one feedback that I would give, I loved your voices. I loved your holding the cup of sugar. One thing that I would like is just for you to shift and turn and square to the camera, because it always looked like you were just a little bit turned away.
Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.